Hiya! VideoGaming Father here with video review of fast-paced arcade racing of seniors on mobility scooters called Coffin Dodgers. Is there any crazy story that can shed light on this insanity? Is the game full of humor as its description might indicate? Does the game difficulty make it suitable even for senior citizens? Isn't the game ruined by clunky controls or turbo track design? Are there any useful upgrades enhancing the gameplay? Do the game audiovisuals make it nice looking but also playable on low specs machines? Is there any local multiplayer in the game making it even more entertaining while playing with the family or friends? Let's find out all the answers together in this Coffin Dodgers video review. Okay, so is there a story giving at least a piece of sense to the strange name and even strange description of the game? Welcome to Sunny Pines, a suburban retirement village. After settling down to recover from the responsibilities of working life, the residents of Sunny Pines have been idling away the days. However, the creepy new resident, Mr. Grim Reaper, looks set to turn retirement on its head. After years trolling the earth for souls to harvest, Mr. Grim Reaper concludes Sunny Pines is where he will lay his head, where he can harvest souls from the comfort of his rocking chair. And 7 brightest senior citizens decide to strike a deal with the Grim Reaper, a mobility scooter racing championship to do that. If they can prove themselves to be fast enough, surviving and ultimately winning the championship, then he will allow them to win. However, too slow, and they will be condemned to the retirement village in the sky. This is definitely an innovative and crazy enough idea to make the game entertaining. So the story is promising, and now let's take a look if the game is really as crazy and funny as its story promises. In the beginning of the story part of the game, you choose your senior citizen racer. You can pick from 7 pensioners desperately trying to save their souls. Each of them has a short introduction describing his part, so you can find here a former Amish sheep farmer, Harley rider, model, or German pilot from World War II. Characters themselves are funny enough, but unluckily there are no stats for them, so choosing of the character is just a cosmetic matter and does not have any other effect for the race. Honestly, character choice could be a little bit deeper. As for your mobility scooter, you are not choosing anything. You just get the generic vehicle and go straight to the first race. Luckily, there is a garage where you can upgrade several parts of your vehicle for the money and, but we will get to this a little bit later. Now let's take a look at how the racing itself looks. In the story mode, you race against the 7 opponents that recruited from the remaining pensioners. It's really unusual to call the opponents like that, isn't it? And Grim Reaper himself on top of it. By the way, Grim Reaper can also be selected as your racer, but is locked in the beginning, so I guess you can unlock it only when successfully finishing the story. The story mode is divided into 4 distinct areas: the village, the town, the farm, and the graveyard, and each of them consists of 3 tracks for 4 laps. For each race you get the determined number of points based on your position and finish. The higher position, the more points you get, of course. The points for each race are added up, and your task is to finish among the first 3 after the 3rd race to qualify to another mini championship in the next area. And you can bet that to achieve this goal you will need to have pretty sharp elbows. Why is it so? Once the race starts, your opponents are aggressively going after each other, and this does not exclude your character indeed. They are crashing into each other, beating the other with their walking sticks and using power-ups to slow the opponents or even eliminate them for a while. The level of aggression of your opponents is really high, and I really don't know why Grim Reaper has chosen this suburbia because the senior citizens there are not even close to their last days, judging by the energy they show up in each race. Okay, maybe it's because the main prize is set really high, to stay alive. Even if you are currently in first place, you will never get too far from the other racers, so you can expect that you will never get fully relieved. One mistake and you will always get outrun by several angry pensioners. And not just outrun, if you are not thrashed or hit by the walking stick, you can still get shot by the machine gun or rocket, get electrified, or get a skid on the oil slick that someone ahead of you poured on the track for a greater fun. Each of them slows you down or even makes you fall from your scooter, which costs you a couple of seconds and usually makes you appear in one of the last positions. Something like legendary Mario Kart after 50 years. Coffin Dodgers is a pure arcade racing game, so the behavior of your mobility scooter is not even close to be realistic. Well, have you ever seen a mobility scooter exceeding the speed of 100 km per hour? But its behavior is predictable most of the time. And most of the time it reacts to your commands precisely. You just need to hold the gas button and release it a bit in the corners. I have played the game on an Xbox controller and I was satisfied with the control's responsiveness. Only complaint I have is that sometimes you can get stuck at some obstacle and then it's not easy to get out of it. You need to use the reverse button and controlling your vehicle while going back, and it's a bit clunky, so such maneuver costs you precious seconds. It will be better to simply have some reset button. Once I have mentioned obstacles, let's go to the track design. As for the track design, it is solid, I would say. There are a lot of corners along with straight long sectors where you can test your maximum speed. Sometimes you can find ramps that you can use for long jumps or speed boosters known from Mario Kart and many other arcade racing games. In some of the tracks you can also find moving objects that you and your opponents can crash into. Police cars, subway trains, or even UFOs with their tractor beams. There are also some shortcuts, tunnels, etc. that make the tracks more variable. In general, track design is not bad. Some tracks are more technical, some of them are rather guest holders, and along with partially interactive environment, they provide a good playground for arcade action racing. Only downside is that the authors seem to be scared to use their ideas enhancing the gameplay more often, so there are only a few shortcuts, few speed boosters, few jumps, and so on. It's a shame because some ideas are really good, so if they were used more often, it would be for the game benefit. How about power-ups and vehicle upgrades? As I have already mentioned, there are several power-ups like machine guns, rockets, oil slicks, electricity, or temporary invulnerability. They are presented by the suitcases with a question mark, so you never know what kind of power-up you are going to pick up. The only thing you can be sure of is that the other senior racers will not hesitate to use them against you in the others. So even if you are in lead, you never know where you get shot by the machine gun or rocket, causing a fall from scooter and losing several places. This makes the game thrilling, and also frustrating sometimes to be honest, till the very end of the race. As for the upgrades, you earn the coins for each race, but only if you finish high enough, the better position in the finish line, the more money you earn. For the money earned, you can buy a better engine, gearbox, body or weapon. You can also customize the paint and color of your vehicle, but this does not have any effect on the gameplay. Actually, I have found upgrades not very satisfying, as I have not felt any big difference in vehicle behavior, even when I had my scooter upgraded to the second level out of 3. The other opponents could outrun you as easily as if you had not upgraded your vehicle at all. Here we are getting to the game difficulty. Races on some tracks are quite easy to win, while some can be rather frustrating, especially when you spend most of the race by effort to get to the first place, and then you lose many positions right before the finish line because you got hit by the lonely rocket. On the other hand, races are short, usually take between 2 and 3 minutes, and you can try your luck in each race as many times as you wish. This makes the Coffin Dodgers a challenging yet not frustrating game. As for the game audiovisuals, the graphics are quite nice and colorful with a solid level of detail. I do not expect some photorealistic graphics, but cartoon-like graphics perfectly fits the game atmosphere, and it can be also played even on low-specs machines. Music is also well chosen, but there are only few music tracks, one for each environment, which is simply insufficient and it becomes repetitive quite soon. As for the sounds, they are just mediocre and there is no dubbing in the game, which is a shame, as a couple of funny one-liners for each character would definitely highlight the funny atmosphere of the game. Is this crazy racing of angry senior citizens for your attention? On the plus side, a funny and inventive story, thrilling atmosphere in each race, cool track design, effective power-ups, balanced difficulty, nice graphics with low hardware requirements, and number of modes including split-screen multiplayer for up to 4 players. On the downside are a small number of races in story mode, low frequency of using original elements in the races, low effect of vehicle upgrades, some annoying obstacles making you get stuck for a long time, frustration from being a magnet for opponents' attacks sometimes, generic music and sounds. Despite all flaws, Coffin Dodgers is suitable for family playing thanks to short dynamic races, sense of humor, and split-screen multiplayer for up to 4 players. Only thing is, that is not ideal game to teach your kids to respect the elderly. Coffin Dodgers costs €10 on Steam, which is quite a lot for what it offers, so this time I would recommend waiting for at least 50% discount. Coffin Dodgers is not even close to being a flawless game, and it can be annoying sometimes, but still is able to deliver the arcade racing fun, and thus I'm giving it thumbs up, and VideoGaming Father index 7- out of 10. Recommended with some discount. Thank you for watching my video review. If you have enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumb up and subscribing to my VideoGaming Father's channel. See ya!